Girish Karnad's play Nagamandala continues. In the last class, we learned how Aparna ill-treats his wife Rani. Rani is a young girl and she was brought home to her husband's house after their marriage. Unfortunately, Aparna has a relationship with another woman and he visits the house of this woman every day, leaving Rani alone in the house. Rani is left alone even during night, And unfortunately, in that world of alienation, she tries to reconcile by telling stories to herself. So she lives in that world of alienation and rather fantasize herself by retelling those stories she learned in her childhood. Often she sobs, but there is no one to console her. And one day, while she was being left alone like that, she was visited by an old woman and her son. This old woman is named Kuridava because she was blind. And she was carried by her son on his shoulders. This son's name is Kappanna. Kappanna in Kannada language means black man. Actually, he's not that black, but his mother Kurudava calls him Kappanna because she could not see him properly. Since she is blind, she could see her son only as dark. That is the reason why this man was named Kappanna. Kappanna carries his mother on his own shoulders since she could not walk alone because of her blindness. This Kuridava is an old friend of Appanna's mother. Appanna's mother is no more, but Kuridava thinks it has her own responsibility to make Appanna a good man. She knows very well that Aparna has an illicit relationship with a woman in the town, a woman in the market, and she came to know the news of Aparna's marriage with the young girl. So she wants to come and check whether this young girl lives happily with Aparna. But Kuridava's son Kappanna is not in favor of going to the house and talking to Rani because it will be like meddling with the problems of others, that he doesn't want to happen. And more importantly, he is also afraid of Aparna. Aparna, of course, is that kind of a fellow. He doesn't have any mercy, sympathy for anyone. He's somewhat a man of choleric temperament. Okay, but Kurudava insists to be carried, to be taken to Rani's house, and they find the house as being locked from outside. So naturally, they might have gone back. Thinking that there was nobody inside. But Kurudava knows the nature of Aparna quite well, and she wants to make sure whether there is anybody or not. And he asked her son to open the window and look inside to find out whether the newlywed wife of Aparna is there. But Aparna doesn't want to do so because it will be like peeping into others' privacy. But Kurudava insists her son to do so because she takes this as her own moral responsibility to look after this young couple. And by the time they hear some noise from inside, Rani comes out. Not comes out. Rani just in fact comes near the window to know what is what. And that enables Kurudava a chance to talk to this young girl. And Kapana straight away runs away, carrying his mother on his back. But Kurudava insists that she should talk to Rani. And she introduces herself as a friend of her mother-in-law. And during the conversation, she finds out that there is no normal relationship between the husband and wife. Rani is left alone in the night Aparna continues to visit his concubine without paying any attention to Rani, and she was terribly sorry. This Kurudava, the old woman, was terribly sorry to hear this, and Rani, in fact, sobs, cries. That in fact makes Kurudava even more sad. And one favor that Rani seeks from Kurudava is to inform her plight to her parents, inform her plight to her parents. But Kurudava has other ideas. In fact, Kurudava calls her son to her side and asks him to fetch two roots she has kept herself somewhere in their house. These roots are rather magical roots, and she has kept it in the cattle shed. And she rather tells her son Kapanna where she has hidden these magical roots in a wooden box in the cattle shed. In the left corner of the cattle shed, there is a wooden box, and these two roots could be found in the box. And what is so special about these roots? And Kurudava explains this to Rani. Kurudava, in her younger days, paid perfect hospitality to a mendicant, despite being blind. And this mendicant was so happy at the hospitality thrown to him by this blind girl. And this saint came to know that Kurudava remained unmarried because nobody came to marry a blind woman. And this mendicant gives her 3 roots. These roots have the capacity to charm young men towards the girl who gives these roots in a food or so, mixed in a food or so. And this old woman, Kurudava, tells Rani the effect of these magical roots. This is how she says, a distant relative of theirs, a young man, came to spend one night in Kurudava's house. He came for some business purposes, and he spent one night in Kurudava's house. And Kurudava mixed one of these roots in the food to this man, and immediately he fell in love with Kurudava and came next day or so and proposed to Kurudava, and they married each other. And this man remained with the Kurudava. Their love did not diminish even a bit till his death. Kurudava says that only plague took him away from me. That is how Kurudava says. Kurudava is very confident that Rani could be able to solve her problems with the help of these roots, some kind of enchanting roots, magic roots, which might restore Aparna's love for her. And Rani, in fact, believes words of Kurudava and agrees to do so. Okay.